Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Transforming Trauma to Triumph. I'm here with a very special guest, Ms. Kathryn Ford, who is a women's empowerment expert. Hi, Kathryn. So
Hi.
happy to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, we are too. We are too. So, for our audience who isn't familiar with you or your work, please tell us a little bit more about you and what you're doing in the world.
Well, I absolutely love my work in the world, and I know that it is my purpose in life. So, what I do is I work with sophisticated, extraordinary women who love the finer things in life, and they know they're meant for more. And
Mhm.
typically, they've been through something. So maybe it's time to, and they're ready to uncouple, or maybe it's finally time to find the love of their life. So they may have a health challenge, and they may also be looking for, what they're really passionate about.
Mhm.
So balancing that time and money freedom and looking for their purpose in life, something like that. But I will share with you how I got into all this.
Yeah, please.
It's really an extraordinary story, because I've been through quite a bit in my life, and I'm so happy to have come out on the other side of all that, really now, having created the next best chapter in my own life and loving my life. So, my journey started 31 years ago when I was 26 years old. I was busy climbing the corporate ladder. So, that's who Kathryn was, just thriving in her professional life. But unfortunately, in my personal life, I was about 2 years into a highly toxic marriage. And my then husband, there was just a lot of emotional abuse. He had issues with rage in our home. And I used my work as a distraction, and my friends and things like that. And I really wasn't taking a look at it. I wasn't willing to look at that relationship. And one day I was driving home from work. I had a really bad headache, didn't think much of it, took a couple aspirin, and would end up going blind in my left eye, which was a huge wake up call. Yes, it was like, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? A 26-year-old young woman with huge dreams, huge aspirations, and here I have this happen to me. So I was living in Minnesota at the time, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go down to Mayo Clinic and have the experts take a look at me. They ran all kinds of tests and came back into the room and said, we are so sorry to have to tell you this, but you have multiple sclerosis. And I
Wow.
was like, oh my gosh, how can this be happening to me? I just felt like all my hopes and dreams that I have for my life had just been shattered. And the nurses were coming in from a place of love, really, trying to prepare me, saying, well, just be prepared. This is likely to happen, and this other scary thing is likely to happen. And oh my gosh, they left the room. And I'm so grateful at the age of 26, I had the presence of mind to say, no, I am not going to sign up for that. That is not going to be my life. I'm going to be a medical miracle, and I just don't know how, but I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I claimed that for myself, because had I aligned with what they were sharing with me, I'm sure that's exactly what would have happened. So I set out and started researching, because I'm just a researcher by nature. What were people doing all over the world that really allowed them to thrive, even when they were facing some really difficult, extremely challenging situations? And in the mid 90s, I ran across Dr. Bernie Siegel, and his work, it just was like, wow, I have really struck gold. He is still today a leading authority in the world on the mind body connection.
Mm.
Yes. And so I just devoured his books and all the materials that he had published, and took what he had, and even brought it forward and created more tools for myself to use on my own mind body connection,
Yeah.
and was actually doing quite well, especially for somebody with a diagnosis like I had.
Yeah.
Then,
Blind in one eye while you were doing all this? Wow.
yes, I was able to regain a little bit of sight probably a year after the incident, but nothing, certainly that I would be legally blind and everything. It wasn't anything extraordinary. And then I began like learning more about this dis-ease, and, just seeing how devastating it can really be. So 22 years later, though, from that initial diagnosis, I found out I had been misdiagnosed. And yes, and actually the accurate diagnosis is something far more serious. Again, I was like, how can this be happening? What a shock. What's worse neurologically than multiple sclerosis? I couldn't even think about that. And I found out, or they told me, well, you have this really rare condition called neuromyelitis optica. It's oftentimes mistaken for MS. It's way worse. It's far more serious. Oh my gosh. So, but then I was looking at myself saying, well, I'm actually doing quite well, but okay, And then I started researching again and found out that there was now a doctor practicing at Mayo Clinic who's an expert in the world on this really rare condition. So I immediately made an appointment with him, went down, he walked in the room, turned around to walk out, stood in the doorway, and I was puzzled. I'm like, what is he doing? And he looked back at me and he said, are you Kathryn Ford? And I said, yes. And he said, oh my gosh, you don't even look like someone who's had MS for 22 years, let alone this worst condition. What are you doing? And I said, I'm going to take that as a compliment. He goes, what are you doing besides the medication you're on? And I'm like, oh my gosh, finally some good news, right? Because he was very impressed with how well I was doing. So he said, no, I really do want to know. This is amazing. And I said, well, I am all about the mind-body connection. I believe that we all have an inner pharmacy. Our thoughts generate feelings, and those feelings trigger our hormonal centers, all of the different centers in our body to release chemicals. And if I'm happy and thriving, my whole body is filled, including my mind, everything, with beautiful sparkling chemicals that are really life-giving. And every cell is being bathed in that. But if I'm just struggling or, in a toxic relationship, it's too much cortisol. It is way too much stress for my being. And over time, that will manifest as a dis-ease in our physical bodies. And he was like, oh, I completely agree with you. And we talked some more. And he said, you really need to get this out into the world. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, no, really, like you can help so many people because everyone on the planet has some sort of dis-ease. Every one of us has something that if we could change it in the next 6 months to a year, it would make all the difference in our life.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was really the first one who brought that to my attention. And then he said, I have one more question for you. When is your next injection? And at that point of those 22 years where we thought I had MS, I was on 16 and a half of those years on a every other day injection of a chemotherapy drug. So for over 16 years, I felt like I had the flu, but I believed in those injections because I thought they were helping me. He said, I don't really know how to tell you this, but you need to stop those immediately. They're harmful to someone with your diagnosis. Literally, Diana, I just
oh my God,
couldn't believe it. I thought he energetically punched me in the stomach. I thought I just need to go throw up. I can't believe this. I felt so horrible from that medication, but I thought it was helping me. And I believed in it. And so I told him that. I said, you know what? Oh, actually, at first, it took me a while. And then it hit me. And I thought, ooh, I can't hang on to all this. This is not good for me. I opened up my eyes and I said, you know what, doctor? I have a very powerful mind. I've been really working on that for the last 22 years. I've been developing that power and I believed they were helping me. So I know that medication didn't hurt me. And he's like, oh, we are sticking with that. And he said, just looking at you, obviously it didn't. And I said, well, if I do hang on to all this toxicity, all this anger and upset and resentment, how could I be on this for so long? And it's supposed to make me worse. I was literally fighting against, I was taking something that was making me worse, supposedly. And I was fighting against my body. My poor body had to fight not only the dis-ease, but also the medication I was taking.
Right.
But I know, but I told him, I know it didn't hurt me because I believed it was helping me. And he was just like, we are sticking with that. And I said, we are, because if I hang on to this, I'll be back tomorrow with a major exacerbation because I had so much toxicity. And I just let it go. And I decided to focus on gratitude and think about all the reasons why I was so happy I didn't have to do those anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what I did. But you may be wondering, whatever happened to that toxic marriage I was in?
Yeah. Was he around for all of this? No.
Not towards the latter part of it, but I did get up the courage finally to get the divorce.
Okay.
And it was very hard for me because I grew up in a family with religious traditions and other family traditions that did not allow for divorce. So I had to really work through all of that. Finally, after some extreme issues with rage in our home, I decided I have to leave. It is truly a safety issue. And so we were a month away from getting the judge in Minnesota to rubber stamp the divorce. And my then husband called me from work to let me know that he lost his job. And we were still living in the same home. Now, here's a man who actually did not want the divorce, which I don't know exactly why not, because obviously it wasn't a good marriage, but he did not want it at all. He had untreated mental health challenges he refused to get help for, and now he lost his job. So he just was feeling like his whole world was crumbling.
Yeah.
He came home, we got into an argument, he went down in the basement, and he came up with a gun. Yes. So I am so grateful to still be here with you today and everyone and be on the planet. I can't even tell you, it was the most traumatic day of my life. And fortunately, the incident, it ended without any kind of physical incident, thank God. There was a lot of emotional healing that had to happen. And the good thing that came out of it was he was required to get help at that point. So that part was really good as well. But I went on to really take what I was doing and just move forward and build the next most amazing chapter in my life. And it took a lot because I had zero self-worth. I was told often, you're lucky I'm still here. You have MS. Who's that? When we thought I had MS, who's going to want you anyway? And over time, that really does wear on you. Or when there was a situation of rage in our home, or something was destroyed, he would say it was my fault because I had MS and it was, I caused him to do that kind of thing. And after a while, I really began to start to believe that. So I had to unravel all of that
Yeah.
and really stand in my strength and learn some more additional very important tools. But that mind body connection is everything. So yeah, so I am so thrilled to be helping women create the next most amazing version of themselves because I have done it myself and I can help them so much more quickly. It doesn't have to take decades, I can help someone get unstuck very fast and create the next most amazing version. And it's just so, I love what I do because I get to watch women's lives just take off, whether it's successfully uncoupling and finding the love of their life, or really finding what they're passionate about and loving their life, and then of course with a health challenge as well. But the key to what I do is we work on all three areas of our life, no matter what your major initiative is, because I know firsthand everything in our life affects everything else.
Right. It's all connected.
So
I'm just like absorbing your light right now because you shine so bright, and like I feel your heart and like just how passionate you are about this work because it's your journey. It was your journey. You lived it. You've survived it. You're thriving, and to be able to turn around and help other people that are in similar challenges, like that is our purpose, right? Our purpose is to find our gift and to give it away, and you are a living example of it and such an inspiration. That's incredible. And I can relate to so much of your journey as well. No one really talks about that transformation between feeling worthless and then coming into your power. It is like, it's like hiking down to the caves of your being and then trying to reprogram and rebuild from the bottom up. And it's so deep and it's so powerful, and you can't do it alone. You can't.
No, because we're too close to our own stuff. And we all have that part of us that wants to keep us stuck, and it will guise itself as keeping us safe, right? Clearly I wasn't safe, but we all have that part of us that wants to keep us stuck in those paradigms and all of that. And then we all also have the part of us that wants to go forward. So when you get support, the part of you that wants to go forward is able to really win over the part of you that wants to keep you stuck, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a lot of years, and I love that you said you were 26. I was also 26.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was also 26 when, everything just kind of hit the fan for me in my um, you know, and kind of where I am now. I'm only 31, so it's only been 5 years for me to be on this journey. But man, like in these past 5 years, I feel like I've lived several lifetimes of transforming and doing this work, and like you said, like you really need someone to kind of hold that space for you. And I think my life started to really shift when I started to create like larger quantum leaps in my own growth and transformation was when I hired a mentor or coach or
Mhm.
someone to help guide you, because trying to figure it out on your own, like you said, it's going to take a very long time.
A very long time. Yes. And when you have the support, really, that person can help you get unstuck so quickly
Yeah.
and just keep moving forward, which is, what you want to do because every day is so precious, every single day. And we don't want to be stuck in a situation or with circumstances that are not, a place that we're loving.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
How's your health now?
It's fabulous. And I am so happy to say that I am with the love of my life, and it makes all the difference.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, all the difference. I love helping women find the love of their life. Oh my gosh. And just attracting him organically. It's amazing. And love heals. It really does. And it's so fabulous to be in a place where I am now with that part of my life as well, because it was, such a tragic ending there. But it's just so great that this new freshness and oh my gosh. So I'm a newlywed, just a little over 2 years, and it's so fun at 57 to say I'm a newlywed. It's just great. So I also, I guess, don't want people to ever think it's too late.
Right.
It's not. It's never too late. And I learned so much from that first experience of marriage that I was in
Mm.
that, literally at first I was like, I will never get married again. And then as I began to, further on my relationship journey, I realized, no, I am someone, and it's, not everyone is, that's what they would love, but I know that I am someone who is meant for that. It's meant for me. And so when I finally came to terms with that and decided to step out and just really say, yes, this is what I would love, it was so much fun.
I know, I feel the love and it's radiating. It's so beautiful. I was just on another interview, and she said she was my starter marriage and my keeper marriage.
That. Yes, we learned so much, and that's so true. Just learning from that first experience
Yeah.
and knowing, okay, I learned a lot, and this time I am first of all with the right person, and I am going to respond in certain ways where maybe before I reacted, that was not, the way that I wanted to show up either.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way of putting it though. I agree with her.
Well, if you think about too, like you're talking about the mind body connection, right? Our energy is attracting our reality. So like who you were at that time while you were still figuring yourself out and you were feeling disempowered, you were sick, you were going through so much, and energetically you were a match to that situation, that vibration, those circumstances. And
Mhm.
as that you begin to love yourself, grow, transform, and become empowered, it would just make sense that from this more elevated place, you would attract then a partner that's going to support you and lift you up and just expand and complement you in that way.
Yes, you're so right about that. And that's one of the reasons I love helping women find their true love. And I have to just, I don't know if I think we have time. I'm going to tell you
We got time. We got time. I'm enjoying this.
my story about how I met my husband. Okay.
Yes,
I was, it's so great. So I was just going about doing my thing. And I had, really worked on my self-worth and all kinds of other things over the years. And I had begun dating, and I should note, I can see how over the years, the men that I was dating,
Mm-hmm.
the level of person who was right for me, oh my gosh, it just kept
Continue to,
it's amazing when I look back. It's a direct reflection of who I was on the inside at that time and my self-worth, because our self-worth is not only equal to our net worth, but it's equal to how much love we allow in our life, and how much success as well, right? So I was hired for a speaking engagement in Beverly Hills, and it was an evening dinner with about 75 people. And I was going to do an hour presentation and talk about, what I do and all of this, and what the president of the organization wanted me to touch on. So I arrived a little bit early to set everything up, and I knew who the president was because I had met him before, but there was this other gentleman with him when I walked into the room. And the first thing I thought was, wow, I was very attracted to him. Just like I was like, wow, that is a very good looking man. The other man, not the president.
Yeah.
So the president greets me and says, oh, this is my friend David. And I met David and all this. And immediately I had done enough work also on relationships that I dropped into my feminine. Even though I was showing up for work, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to be in our masculine when we're working. Like, okay, but right now with these little snippets of time I'm getting with him, I'm going to be in my feminine. So almost immediately he said, can I help you set up your presentation? Now, the previous Kathryn would have said, oh no, I've got this. I've done this a million times. No, I'm good. Thank you though.
Yeah.
And I stopped and said, oh, that would be wonderful. And it really was, because I got to go sit down, review my notes and whatever. So he did all of that, came back to me, and was just like, I did it. This is like such a classic, right? And I of course said, thank you. I'm so grateful. I was able to review my notes and everything. Okay, so then I got up to speak once everybody arrived and they served dinner. The room was in a U shape, and David was sitting on the same side of the room. He actually did this, it was interesting, purposely. I was on the outside of this U shape, on this one side, and he was on the inside, so he could see me. He actually couldn't see the front of the room as well as he could see me. So I spoke for an hour, I sat down, and the next thing I know, there's this note being passed. And I don't know anybody in the room, so I just hand it to the guy next to me. David leans over, and the meeting is going on, and he says, no, that's for you. So the guy next to me heard it too, so he hands a note back to me. I open it up, and it says, please check your text messages. And I'm like, how did he get my, all this stuff's running through my mind. How did he get my phone and number? And then I remembered at the end of my talk, I passed out a handout with some of my information, and on the back was my contact information, but it was my office landline. So I thought, oh my gosh, he's texting my landline. I thought, okay, he knows the president. It's safe for me to give him my cell phone number. So I flipped the paper. It was like we were in junior high. I flipped the paper over. I write, I think you may be texting my office landline. Here's my cell phone. Pass it all the way back. Now, by this point, half the people are no longer listening to the meeting because they know something is going on. It was so funny. So then he texts me and he says, I'd love to get to know you better. How about a glass of wine after the meeting? And I got to tell you, Diana, I was so impressed. I'm like, okay, this is a man who takes action. I mean, he was just like, I'm not going to wait, because I usually have quite a few people lined up to speak to me after a presentation and that kind of thing. And he's like, nope, I'm gonna, text her, get up, make this happen if at all possible. And so I just texted him back and I said, sure. And the rest is history. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I love it.
I know. And I just am so grateful, because this is how it works. I thought I was going to work, right? I thought I was going to do a presentation for a group in Beverly Hills, and I was really going to meet my future husband. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have so much to say about that. Hold on. So I have just also been healing myself, coming back into my feminine. And I don't know if our audience is really like well versed in this arena, but basically and this is how I know it, and you can contribute to this. When we're growing up from trauma, we as women don't feel safe to be in our feminine, right? Because we are not in control of the surroundings around us, especially you with your abusive husband, me and my abusive household, and also my abusive relationships. So we end up coming into our toxic masculinity where we are just like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm doing this. And it's like almost energetically, we're saying we don't want to receive help because receiving help leaves us vulnerable to be hurt, disappointed, and you know, who knows what happens when you release control, right? Like,
Exactly. Yes. And receiving anything, it's feminine energy, right?
It's feminine, yes. And I love how you said, like, you know, I had this huge breakthrough, I think last year, where I had, you know, come to the awareness that I don't allow myself to receive help in any fashion in any way. And it was all trusting, and it was like little things where people like, can I carry this for you? And I would be like my initial urge is like, no, like, do not, like, give me my thing. I'm gonna
I was the same way. Yes, exactly.
and then coming into being like, sure, yeah, you can carry, like, just that little thing of him helping you set up.
Oh,
That's so like it might not seem like a lot, but it's a lot.
it is, it doesn't, I know, it might not seem, and it probably does, a lot of people doesn't seem like a lot. I
Right.
will tell you that was a crucial moment. David and I have talked about it since then a lot. And he was really looking for a woman who was more feminine. So he said to me very early on, if you had said no, it's not even like he thought about, I'm going to ask her if I can. He didn't think
Right.
about all that, but he said, if you would have said no, I got this, I probably never would have sent that text.
Wow.
Because energetically,
Yeah.
I mean, even though I was physically attracted to you and everything else, energetically, my being would have picked up on that isn't the energy I want, because I've had that and it didn't work.
Because she's not ready to receive.
Right.
Right.
And so it's so interesting that, you know, just those little tiny things are actually they're huge. That was a deal breaker,
Yeah.
right? Just me being in my feminine and receiving his assistance.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So we think that it's small, but it's really big.
And men want to be of service to you. Men, they feel needed. They feel purposeful to be able to serve and provide and do that for their female partner or the feminine in general. And when we as women are not feeling safe to be in our feminine and we don't allow them to do that, we, the balance, the feminine masculine balance is off, and it's hard to. And then, like, I'm sure you help your women with finding men. It doesn't allow you to then receive a man that is ready to be masculine for you and to provide for you. Because, when I think back to when I was in my toxic masculinity, all my men were in their toxic femininity. I was the one driving the car, I was the one paying for this, I was the one managing the whole relationship, and I'm exhausted now. I'm resentful and I hate you, and like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, exactly. Because two masculines, it cancels each other out. And so yeah, it's extraordinary, the whole masculine feminine energy and really the dance. And Yakov Smirnoff is a comedian. I don't know if you or your audience knows him, but he was speaking. I first met him at Pepperdine, and he was speaking a bit on this. And he was getting his PhD in psychology around this topic. And after we talked for a while, he phoned me and said, you know what, I want to interview you for my dissertation because we are totally on the same page. And it's so interesting when you unpack our behavior and who we end up attracting and who we're drawn to, right? And who is drawn to us. Oh, it is amazing. It really is. And one of the keys to listen to, if you're dating or whatever, my husband will tell me all the time, he loves when I'm happy. He loves to make me happy. These are all really fabulous signs, right? And he tells me often, and did when we were dating, which I knew was a really great sign. When you're happy, it makes me happy. I love seeing you happy. He's like, you just make me happy. Just when you're happy, I just love it. And I'm like, oh, that is a very good thing. Because what is he doing a lot of the time? Doing things to make me happy, which makes him happy. I mean, it's just, you know, it's really great. Yeah. So that's just something to listen for. And it's these subtle little things that we do, to your point, think, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's huge.
It is. It is. I love it. I love this. I love that you're providing this work for women too, because it's so needed, right? Because if we think about, and I'm from New York originally. Oh God, the land of masculine women. Because you know what I mean. But also, so I've lived in California now for going on 5 years. So I think that the environment really helps me to feel safe in my feminine and to really heal those things and to let people do stuff for me.
Yes.
But I went back to New York last month, and I can just see like the emotional and energetic landscape of that area does not support women being in their feminine. Like I would ask my guy friends to do simple things for me, and they were just like, no. And I was like, no, what do you mean no? Like I wasn't used to that. And I could just see like how the culture does not support women to be in their feminine. So now it creates like a whole other dynamic of really feminine men and then like really overly masculine women. And so the work that you're doing to help bring women back into their true feminine energy and for them to feel safe to receive and to receive love, and then not only, like you said, not receive love but receive success and opportunities and abundance, because receiving goes across just beyond our love and our partner, but in all facets of life.
It absolutely does. And I'll tell you, and you know this, going from generating a lot of masculine energy, and it comes from fear and all of the rest of it, and needing to like really be on heightened awareness and control the environment, right? When you're shifting from that to opening up to receiving, it is like unbelievable. I mean, there is just like, for me, there's no better feeling. It is divine. It is so amazing. It's like, what was I missing all that time, right?
Right.
It just
fear.
Yes. And we're hardwired when this whole pandemic has really shed some light on this with the fear piece, right? Even right now, with everything going on the planet, and there's so much collective conscious fear in the collective consciousness, that we do need to consciously take a look at what can I control, right? Because it helps our nervous system, and our nervous system is the controlling system of our entire body. So if we can calm our nervous system, it makes a huge difference in being able to manifest what we would love. So just being able to control my schedule, control this, control that, knowing that, think about when women are in a real challenging, abusive situation. Well, that of course just, is multiplied by a million. And that sense of fear is so deep that then we move into controlling like everything, and overly so, right? And then we're attracting the wrong people for us.
Right. And that control, we're trying to control because we've learned that when we're not in control, we're not safe. So in order to be safe, we need to be in control, which also then repels our ability to receive. It's just like this vicious cycle.
And what I was going to say is that we're hardwired for that. We're hardwired to have like we love repetition. We love to have, so when things feel out of control, like they have, in with the pandemic, it's important to consciously create some control around your life, not go overboard, but just to understand why we react the way we do. Because if you are in those really difficult situations where it's abusive and things like that, to really be kind and loving to yourself and know that, okay, the reason, it's not to go beat myself up and go, wow, I was like that way back then, and then that led to all this. No, that's the way we're hardwired.
Yeah.
And when we feel like everything is out of control, as we do when there's abuse and whether it's, physical, emotional, or both, to really love on yourself and say, wow, I went through a lot, and I'm so proud of myself that I'm stepping out of that I'm maybe, in the beginning, everything's not perfect. You're not perfect yet, or it's not like a habit of mind, but it's okay. You're moving forward, and to just give yourself some grace when it comes to that. Because too oftentimes to the first thing we want to do is start beating ourselves up for who we were. Yeah.
You're offering this work in a special program, right now.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
like, yeah, I can already tell the work you do in this world is like phenomenal and transformational just from our conversation. But tell us more about
Thank you.
that you're offering us.
Well, I'm super excited, and we have something extra for all of everyone who's participating in this with you, because of you, and so I'm super delighted to talk about that too. But I received, it was so neat. I woke up in the middle of the night with an extraordinary idea.
Mm.
Early stages, like back in March of this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was to create something that would give more women access to my work in the world, and have it be a taste of Oceans of Wellness, a fountain of youth and abundance. So I developed everything. I just listened to what my higher self was telling me to do, including I was given the name and everything. So it is called Women, Wealth, and Wellness, and it is extraordinary. It's an 8-week program where we focus on exactly what we're talking about now. And it is beautiful. It's online, and on Wednesdays, we call them Wealth Wednesdays, from 12 to 12:30 Pacific time, so noon to 12:30 Pacific time, you get me live with everyone else, and it's inspiration and Q&A from me. And we are having just incredible quantum leaps happening in women's lives. And it's really fun to come together as a community. We have extraordinary women in the group. We have Tom Cruise's former professional chef, personal chef. We have an A-list celebrity makeup artist. We have moms, we have, every entrepreneurs, every kind of work in the world that's out there. So it's super fun when you get together with women who are all working on building the next, and just creating the next most amazing chapter in their life. So it's just extraordinary. It's just been a fabulous. The feedback has been incredible. And for the 8 weeks, I'll just give you some details. And again, this is for you if you are really wanting to move forward in your life and you do want to create that most amazing next chapter, and really everything we've talked about today. It's 8 weeks, so it's a good amount of time to really take a bit of a deep dive, and it is beautiful. You've got that call with me, and we had it appraised, and it came in at $3,000 because of the situation on the planet. I wanted to really be able to have as many women have access, so we discounted it to $1,497.
Wow.
Yeah. So 50% off, but for your listeners and viewers, we're just so thrilled to be able to offer a promo code for another $500 off. So for $997, yes, to take advantage of this amazing program is just, it's beyond words. And we do focus on wealth, because when we can build wealth in our life, that time and money freedom comes in, and that is a huge game changer in our lives. And it allows us time to explore the relationships and find the love of our life. And then of course we focus on our health. A lot of it's lifestyle. We just have a lot of fun. Yeah. And the promo code is your name. So you just, so you just have to go in and put in your information, and be sure to put the promo code Diana in, and everything will just generate, and you'll get started. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful. And I think, with the pandemic, with everything that is going on, I think people, women specifically, are really taking a second glance at, like, is this the way I want my life to look at? Like, is this the way I want to continue to operate? Is this the way I want my relationships to look like? I mean, I did that as well, even as a coach, and as I was, helping my clients do that too. Just like, this is the time to really reevaluate and recalibrate how we want to continue to move forward in the world. As the world is changing, we are being asked to change as well.
Definitely. Absolutely. And a lot of it starts with how we treat ourselves. So I've also got a free gift attached to that link. So even if you don't do the Women, Wealth, and Wellness, please do grab the free gift. It is the 5 keys to discovering your personal expression of self-love, because everybody's is different. And we hear those words, self-love, self-care, and when they're just so thrown around, but really, what does that mean to you? And what part of your life will you benefit in when you discover what more you can give to yourself?
Yeah.
right? So that's a really great, yeah. So definitely grab that one.
Yes, yes. We're gonna attach all of Kathryn's links and to the program and to her free gift in the email that this interview is in, and also on the site that we're hosting
Perfect.
that you're watching. Kathryn, you are such a light. Like I might even join the program just because I just want to be around your energy. It's intoxicating. Like I feel like I'm in love right now. Just
Oh,
you are just love. Like you just radiate love, and it's just like
thank
it's so
you.
uplifting. And the
Oh,
work that you're doing in the world with women is so important because at the end of the day, you uplift the women. Women support the men. The women support the children. You know what I mean? You support the world through uplifting women, and I just it's beautiful work.
oh,
Thank you.
thank you. My gosh, I've had such fun today. This has been great talking with you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and I love your work in the world too. And thank you for really putting all of this together.
Oh,
It's no small thing, and believe me.
is
It's,
it? It definitely isn't. But you know what's been such a treat for me is just like getting to connect with such amazing souls that are in alignment with this work, that my work as well. And you know what I mean? We're a tribe. We're a tribe of workers out here trying to make the world a better place, sharing our hearts and uplifting other people. And we need to support each other in doing it. So it's my pleasure to get to be in contact with all of these incredible like leaders that are just so bright and such a bright light in the world right now where we really need it. But yeah, absolutely.
well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of Transforming Trauma to Triumph. I hope you got a lot out of this one. This was a really good one. And I'm your host, Diana Min, and we will catch you on the next episode. Bye.